Hello my lovelies, good morning. Fabulous day here on planet Earth. Another May energy update, more messages coming through. What I've heard already is May is a very sacred month. May is the month of Mary. Now when I was very young, there was a song we sang at school when May entered in. And it went, May is the month of Mary, month we all love so well. Mary is God's own mother, gladly her praises we tell. Mary is beautiful, Mary is fair. And so there's this sacred goddess energy with us through the month of May, allowing us to tap into that mothering energy, being nurtured, nurturing others, feeling that we are loved, feeling that we are cherished, and knowing that we can create whatever it is we would like to, being a co-creator with the divine. So we'll see what other messages want to come through for you, and just enjoy this fabulous day. So here we have a fabulous red chestnut tree with its reddish pink candles. So to illuminate our pathway in life, and the other part of the message that's coming through is to follow the path of least resistance. So we may have things going on around us which are filling our days and filling our minds and feeling fit to bursting, fit to overflowing, but in a negative sense. There's too much going on. And you need a valve, you need to release, you need to vent, like with a pressure cooker. Let off steam, because your beautiful human bodies can't hold all of the stresses without damaging your bodies in some way. So following the path of least resistance, that's what is coming through for you. Because when things are coming at us, we can do one of two things. We can run away, which is the flight, or we can stay and fight. It's the fight or flight reaction. And in both senses of this, stress can be involved. Because if you run away, that means fear has kicked in. And your adrenal glands will be pumping adrenaline all around your body. If you choose to stay and fight, again, your adrenal glands are pumping adrenaline all around your body. So either way, there's stress on your body, within your body. So whether it's an emotional situation where you feel you need to stand up and say how you feel, but is that a knee-jerk reaction? Where one of you has to win, or can we take the path of least resistance and agree to disagree? Allowing the other party to be right in their sense of things, and so their ego feels that it has won, and so the path of least resistance is our ability to tap into our higher aspect, our soul's energy, which has a broader perspective and is able to see the situation that you have drawn to you in a very different way. And sometimes when we allow others to feel like they are right, feel that they have won, it can actually take the wind out of their sails. Because they might be ready for a fight. And again, that's fear-based ego. But if you choose not to fight, not to run away, but to bring your energies to a higher understanding, a higher vibration, then that becomes a win-win situation. So if you have allowed the other person to think or feel that they are right and they have won, and they work on their issues, at their level, and because you haven't fought back, because you haven't argued, because you haven't chosen to fight, the lesson of that will at some point integrate into the other person. Because their initial reaction might be, oh, I've won, I was right. But then when they start to think about it and process it, well, why didn't the other person fight? Why didn't they argue with me? And you could ask the same question of yourself. Why didn't I fight? Why didn't I argue with them? And it was because you chose the path of least resistance. we do expend an awful lot of energy making other people wrong so that we can feel right. And again, that is our egos wanting to dance with each other. And don't you think the path of least resistance is much more healthful? And when we look at our own well-being, being well, which is our birthright, why would we want to step up to the fight? And for the changes in the energies that we're all experiencing now, when something does show up in our lives which triggers us, perhaps toward that fight or flight, then it's to be able to recognize that the trigger is an old one. It's an old pattern, it's an old scenario, and it's come up for us to clear, to cleanse, to heal, to delete that pattern and to let it go, so it will never show up again. So in a way, we can thank and bless the protagonists for showing up to point out to us how far we've come. And everyone's a mirror. Every relationship we have is a mirror of ourselves in some way. So you will find that fewer and fewer protagonists show up as you clear this stuff, as you let it go, as you surrender and release. And you can pat yourselves on the back because you passed another test. You recognize the trigger. Oh, that one again. Oh, that's shown up again. I'm not going down that path. I'm taking the path of least resistance. And so your physical bodies will be enjoying less stress, more well-being, a feeling of tranquility and serenity and calmness and focus. Focus on that which you enjoy, that which you wish to bring into your life. Because if you're spending an awful lot of time focusing on old negative programs and patterning, you can't be enjoying all this new and wonderful lovely stuff that's coming in. So we're constantly being shown by the universe how well we're doing. And when we co-create with the universe, with our partners, with our loved ones, with the energy of Mother Mary during this month of May, that's when miracles can occur. And don't think miracles have to be enormous. They can be tiny little things that have an enormous impact. Yes, big miracles do occur, and we can rejoice with that. But every day is a miracle. As we explore our surroundings and the amazing things that show up. So the divine goddess energy of Mother Mary is activated this month, and it isn't just for girls and ladies. This divine feminine energy is for the guys as well. So I know from working with many people, with my clients, that a lot of guys who are awakening, who are feeling these changes in their physical bodies, some of them finding it very, very difficult to understand, to cope with, to get their logical heads around. And with others, it is an epiphany. It is a most extraordinary softening of their attitudes, of their belief systems. Because boys are programmed from an early age as to how to behave, how to react, how to act, how to be around people. They're told boys don't cry or shouldn't cry or show their emotions. And so it blocks a whole, well, can block a whole lifetime with this outmoded pattern. So for an awful lot of the males out there, this is an unblocking. This is a chance to experience a level of awareness that allows them to let go of these old outmoded patterns and to embrace this new fabulous energy of love, divine connection. Letting go of what they thought they should do with their lives. Seeking approval from family and parents, and going into jobs or careers that the parents or family wanted them to, when their souls were crying out to them to do something different. So this is an opportunity for boys as well as girls to embrace a new way of being, to step into your life purpose, your soul's true role, choosing the path of least resistance, knowing that when you do, things come to you far more easily. No longer resisting your true purpose, your true partnerships, no longer resisting the divine goddess working through you. This is a divine goddess, Misha the divine goddess. She's walking the path of least resistance. Thoroughly enjoying herself. Hello my lovelies, well here's the inside oracle bit, and I've chosen a few oracle cards for you, but I've also found some information about the red chestnut which featured at the very beginning of the outside oracle piece, and one of the Bach flower remedies is red chestnut, so I wanted to share that info with you. So there we have red chestnut. And it says, in an emergency, or even when there is just the possibility of something going wrong, our thoughts will influence the situation. If in our minds we anticipate misfortune, then we help to create the pattern that brings misfortune about. For this reason, Bach sought a remedy that would calm the mind of those who projected fear, so that they might have harmonious rather than disruptive thoughts. Red chestnut is concerned specifically with the projection of fear and anxiety, not on our own account, but as fear for the well-being of others. This can manifest as worrying about the ones we love. When the red chestnut is in bloom, with a whole tree full of deep pink-red flowers, it radiates a clear, warm strength that is both loving, in the pink, and powerful, in the red. The sight of the flowers as a mass of small starbursts expresses both the projected energy and the diffused worrying quality of this remedy state. The radiating force is made stronger in the red chestnut by the contrasting dark green of the leaves. They are a complement to the red, and this causes a strong optical vibration. So if you feel drawn to using some of the remedies, the Bach flower remedies, and you are worried or concerned about someone around you, and you're really fearful about a potential outcome, you are projecting fear outwards. So Bach flower remedies are absolutely spot on for helping you through situations like that, and not projecting all of your fears onto your loved ones who might be going through something like that. Now also in the outside oracle bit, you may notice that 3 ducks took off in flight. And so from the animal spirit guides, we've got some info about duck. So if duck shows up, it means, now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 explanations. They might not all apply, so we'll go through them. This is a time of fertility, either literally or metaphorically. It's time to have fun and maybe even get a little silly, like that one. The time of turmoil has passed, so now you can release any pent-up emotions that have been suppressed. I feel that one really is resonating. And the last one is, do whatever is necessary to find emotional comfort rather than trying to deny your need for this. So I think that really applies as well. So, as I say about pleasing others and seeking approval, is looking after ourselves first. Now, as I completed my walk, another animal showed up, which was a stork. And first it flew in from my right and landed. It was, a good few hundred yards ahead of me. And it stood there for, 2-3 minutes. And then it took off and it flew in an arc all the way around and got closer and closer to me and then carried on going. So this said to me, the stork is always about birth, new beginnings, something new coming into your life. I remember one Boxing Day, about 16 years ago, I was drawing the curtains that evening, and just as I did, I saw a stork flying across, and I said to my dad, "Oh, that's good news about a birth." And about half an hour later, my sister phoned to say she was pregnant. So things like that. So stork showing up, get ready for a new birth into a different expression of yourself. This is a good time to return to your original home or the place where you grew up and see it from your adult perspective, noticing how it feels the same but different. So this isn't necessarily you literally travelling to where you grew up, but it's energetically doing that so that you can look at the old family patterns and acknowledge the ones that need to be cleared and deleted. Dedicate some extended and quality time to your home and family. Do some drumming and rattling on your own or with a group with the intention of awakening some primal energy that can be channeled for creative purposes. Seek out and participate in a group that is doing any kind of sacred dance that appeals to you. So there are various little messages in there which might apply to some of you watching, but I'd say the overall one of the stork is look out for things coming into your life. Now, because the stork flew in and landed and stopped, there was a pause. This says to me that something will come in for us, and you might think, oh, nothing's happened with that. It's halted, it's stalled, there's a delay. But there is a reason for that. And so you might take your focus away from something new that's come in, and then after a short period of time, it will take off again. And it felt to me like over the next three weeks or so. So as we move into June. Now, going back to what I said about the fight or flight syndrome. So when something comes into our lives and it presses triggers, and it can make us feel right, I want to stand there and really say what I want to say and, fists furled, etc. Or skedaddle, just run. So this is a card from the Wisdom of Avalon, the goblin. So it's the wounded human ego. And we will only have the fight or flight thing going on because our ego is wounded. So it's the shadow side of ourselves. It's the part of ourselves that feels it has to protect us and that we have to win, that we're always right and nobody else could possibly be right over us. And but this is sort of deeply buried patterns, belief systems, things that have been planted in us when we were in the womb. It's planted in our DNA. It goes right back to our ancestors. I remember saying in a previous video some time ago, this can come up when there's a family feud, when there's two opposing factions, the Montagues and the Capulets in Romeo and Juliet, that sort of thing. And a tragedy came out of that because the Romeo and Juliet fell in love, but because of the discord in both of their families and the feud that went on, they both took their lives. So I'm not saying that that's a possibility around you, but it's looking at the death of a feud, the death of a conflict, deleting that pattern, moving to a different awareness, not allowing the ego to control things. And the final card is the message from the fairies. And this is perfect timing. So with the stork showing up, as I say, it's a sign, it's an omen, a message for something new about to begin. And we can get really excited about it and think, oh wow, at last, you know, putting an awful lot of hard work into things and suddenly something wonderful showing up, and then you think, oh, it's a damp squib, nothing's happening with it, nothing's happening with it, nothing's happening with it, what am I going to do? But it is perfect timing. It is divine timing. We cannot force little seedlings to grow. You can sit and stare at them for weeks and weeks and weeks and nothing shows. And they're sitting there under the earth and they've got the sun shining on them and you have remembered to water them, and then one day this tiny little shoot, and it's so exciting, I know it's silly, but this tiny weeny little shoot starts to pop up through the earth and you get so excited about it. Oh wow, new life beginning. But there again, you have to nurture it, you have to feed it and water it and make sure that it's weeded and nurture it to its fruition. So what is arriving in our lives, shown by the stork, is a conception, a new beginning. And we really do have to care for whatever it is that shows up. Okay. They're saying it's a bit like when you're trying for a baby and you think you're pregnant, so you have a pregnancy test, and it says yes, and you think, woohoo, oh great, marvellous, wonderful, and then you do another one and it says no, and you think, what? I was convinced there was something going on here, and then a little while later you take another test and that one's positive. So it's it could be great euphoria and then great feeling flat, because what you thought was going to happen doesn't happen when you exactly want it to, but it's going to happen a little bit later on, if you get my meaning. Okay, so what they're saying is there is a call to using your creative energy in such a way that you don't put too much energy into something so that you become tired and depleted and you lose enthusiasm or motivation and you there's nothing showing up yet, so I'm going to give up. Is to find a pace, find the rhythm of life. 2 videos back. Go with the rhythm of life. Find a lovely pace. Watch how nature works. So when we, as I say, plant little seeds, we have to wait for them to pop up through the earth. There are 2 swans along that river as well, and they are getting it together and building a little nest. So they have to sit with it and sit with it and sit with it. And Daddy Swan goes off and gets some grub and comes back and feeds Mummy Swan, and they swap over. So it's having to sit on our nests for a little while, keeping the little eggies warm, and knowing that if we don't do that, then those eggs or those seeds that we planted, they're not going to come to fruition and be birthed. So not to get frustrated or, as I say, lose your focus or your motivation, but just to watch how nature does it and go with that. So it's like planning your calendar or your diary, and you can put in it when something shows up. I've just planted some vegetable seeds for the garden, and I noted in my diary when I planted them, and I also noted how many I planted. So later on I will note how many actually were fertile and came up. So I can watch their progress, yes, literally by looking at them, but also in my diary, to see how long it actually took, because on the packages it says this, that and the other, and it's never always like that. So in a way you can have a plan, but it needs to be flexible. So say you're going away, then you get your neighbour to come in and water your plants for you, so they're not neglected. So we don't want anything to be neglected in your life that you have planted, that you are wanting to give birth to, that needs to be nurtured. So we choose one more card. So these are from the Angels of Abundance. And I just feel that this month of May is so rich with fertile soil, or humus as it's known, not the stuff you eat, but humus, like compost. So compost has to be broken down. So the stuff that we throw away, what do we need to throw away in our lives? It needs to be broken down so that it can be used again, so that it can be recycled and add to the fertility in our life. So nothing really dies, it just gets recycled in some shape or form. Right, let's see what the Angels of Abundance would like to share with you, lovely guys. Ooh, right. Sever vows of poverty. Ooh, now this is a very interesting one. I've worked with this energy many times with my clients. So, as I said before, we carry patterns from our being mummy's womb, and also our upbringing through family, through school, and then as we go into the wide world and start working, if we carry a pattern of poverty consciousness and undeservedness, unworthiness, you're never going to get what you feel you deserve. But also these vows stem from past lives. So say, for example, I know for me, in lots of my past lives, I've been a nun and a priest and a monk and all of that stuff. And they all take vows of poverty, chastity, silence, etc., etc. And so that energy is very powerful. When you make a marriage vow, you can carry that over from another lifetime. So you may find it difficult in this lifetime to find someone to commit to, because you're still committed to one in a previous lifetime. And so the vows that we have made in the past, in past lifetimes, past existences, can carry over. So there is a necessity in a way to sever those vows. So what this card says is, Dear one, there's no need to suffer or sacrifice. Hold the intention of undoing any vows of poverty or self-denial that you may have made, consciously or unconsciously, in any lifetime. As you do so, all effects of these vows will be undone for everyone involved in all directions of time. And that's a very powerful thing to do. There are also oaths, O-A-T-H-S, oaths, that people made in previous lifetimes. So oaths of allegiance. So if guys were taught, the king said, right, you come out of the fields and you become my army and you support me, you have to take an oath of allegiance that you will fight for me. So again, those energies can be stuck in our ancestral energies and carried through in our DNA. So there are ways and means of dispelling them, deleting them. If any of you would like to have a session with me, that's one of the things that I do, is past life regression, and we work through any of these energies that you might have brought over unknowingly, and how they can be severed and deleted to allow you to move forward in this lifetime. So there you are, my lovelies. I hope the messages are resonating with you, and that you can glean some comfort and peace and tranquility from them. I really, really enjoyed my dog sitting this week and walking by the river and in the fields, etc. It's given me a real boost, and I feel recharged, and I'm just so glad that the messages have come through on a daily basis, and I'm able to share them with you. So please leave me a comment, that would be lovely. I'd love to know how you feel about all of this stuff. So for the time being, I love you and leave you. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.